Okay, so here's part 2 of 13.1. We just did parabolas of all types, and now we're going to do circles. So first of all, a circle, by definition, is the set of all points in a plane that are the same distance from a fixed point called the center. And the distance is called the radius. I mean, that sounds kind of crazy, but let's just kind of dissect it for a minute. So, if I have a point, and if I take all of the points that are the same distance from that point, so let's say I take this point right here. So there's one of my points. So whatever this distance is, if I take another point that's different distance from there, so maybe that one, and another point, and another point. So these are all the same distance from this original fixed point. And maybe another point, and another point, and another point. And if I do all of the points that are that exact same distance from that original fixed point, it's going to form a circle. That fixed point is the center, and that distance that I've chosen is simply the radius of the circle. So that's all that definition means. So here is the standard form for a circle. H, K is the center of the circle. This is r squared, but our radius would be the square root of that number, which is r. So just like you had two different equations for parabolas, one equation worked when it opened up or down, the other equation worked when it opened either left or right. Now you have a third equation that you're going to have to add to your tool belt, and this is for a circle. So if we look at this right here, so I know it's a circle because it has both an x squared and a y squared. Do you see where this is really, I could rewrite this as this if I wanted to. This is certainly a neater, cleaner, prettier way of writing it, but it's really just simply this. So whenever you don't have your set of parentheses, that means that it's a 0 in there. So my center for this circle is 0, 0. Remembering that this is r squared, that means that my radius is 5. And that's all you need to know to be able to graph a circle. That's kind of nice. So look, if we go to my graph, my center is at 0, 0. Since my radius is 5, I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to go left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then do your best you can to draw your circle. Okay, let's go to the second example. So notice there are some numbers in there. So this is my H and this is my K. My center, don't forget in parentheses, you take the opposite, is -1, +2. Remembering that this is really r squared, which means my radius would be the square root of 9, which is 3. So if we go to our center of -1, 2, we go up 3, we go down 3. From the center, we go right 3, and we go left 3. Much easier than graphing a parabola, isn't it? And there you go. All right, so our last example here. Now notice this is not in our form. Our form we need is x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared is equal to r squared. We are going to have to complete not one, but 2 squares here. 2 squares. So here we go. Now, first thing you want to do is notice one of your perfect squares contains an x, the other one contains a y. So the first thing I would do is I would gather everything with an x together. Leave some space for completing the square. Now I would gather my y stuff together. And then there should be a value on the other side. Now, if there happened to be a value on this side of the equal sign, you would add it or subtract it and put it over here. You only want your x and y terms to be on the left. So now let's complete my square. Now for this one, unlike the parabola, we're going to be working on both sides of my equal sign. So we're going to go back to old school. Whatever I do to one side, I do the exact same thing to the other side. So if I'm going to complete my square on my x's, half of -2 is -1 squared is +1. So I'm going to add 1 here to complete my square. And I'm also going to add 1 to the right-hand side. And again, that's because I'm working on both sides of my equal sign here. If I go to my y's, half of 6 is 3, squared is 9. So I'm going to add 9 here to complete my square. I'm also going to add 9 to the right-hand side of my equal sign. All right, let's clean it up and see what we have got going here. So if I factor these perfect squares, I get x minus 1 squared plus y plus 3 squared is equal to, adding these all together, I get 16. I'm in the right form now. Now it's really easy to see that the center of my circle is 1, -3. And my radius would be the square root of 16, which is 4. So if I just do a quick and dirty sketch here, I'm going to go to 1, -3. My radius is 4, so I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4 from that center, down 1, 2, 3, 4 from that center, right 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and left 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to graph my circle. Circles are kind of fun. And we're done.